Katarina, and thank you very much for your kind words. And hello to everybody. I would like to welcome everyone to the panel discussion, Female Founders on the Forefront of Sustainability. So as Karina mentioned, my name is Maggie Viterna Placco, and I have the pleasure to be the moderator of this session. I work with EIT Manufacturing, which is a public-private partnership and an innovation community of the European Institute of Innovation Technology. And we support Industry 5.0 startups and have dedicated programs for access to markets and investments. And today we will discuss with our three experts on providing and supporting sustainable solutions, fundraising specifics, as well as which trends and market potentials they see in the future in the field of sustainability. So as you know, and as nature is showing us on a continuous basis, climate change is an urgent challenge for humanity that requires us to take immediate action. On a global level, several industries, among which the manufacturing industry, remains some of the main emitters of greenhouse gases. However, this also makes them subject to a great potential to adopt greener and more sustainable technologies, which would drive what we call the industrial decarbonization and will facilitate the achievement of the goals defined by the European Green Deal and ultimately by the Paris Agreement. To make this happen, we at EIT Manufacturing support various industries to significantly reduce emissions, environmental pollution, energy and material consumption, as well as promote the transition to a circular economy. Nevertheless, besides the relevant technology, strong leaders are needed, and much leadership potential is often lost due to poor gender balance and diversity, and also due to the underutilized potential that women can bring. And that's why we are convinced that we can only achieve the objectives defined by the Paris Agreement if we strongly enhance the female representation and participation in all public and private initiatives that aim to create a more sustainable future for humanity. Having said that, today we have three outstanding female leaders that are developing and supporting solutions for a sustainable future and who will share with us their best practices and give advice to peers how to thrive in their endeavors. So please join me in welcoming Anna Pölzl, co-founder of Knister, Angela Ivanova, co-founder of Lamon, and together they will cover today the founder's perspective in this panel discussion. And last but not least, we have Katarina Sommerrock, and she's head of investor relations at Lightrock. And Katarina will bring in the investor's perspective into this discussion today. So hi Katarina, hi Angela, and hi Anna. I'm very happy to have you here. And I would suggest, before we jump into the first question, you could quickly introduce yourselves to the audience, who you are and what you do basically. So maybe let's start with Angela.
Hi, thank you, Maggie. As said, I'm Angela Ivanova. I am based in Sofia, Bulgaria. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Lemon, a business that we've been developing for the past 3 years and is just about to set our factory here in Bulgaria and launch the late autumn. So this is pretty much my adventure for the past 5 years, actually, being focused on the development of this journey.
Great to have you here. Would you like to continue, Katarina?
Sure. Thanks, Maggie. And hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. My name is Katarina. I head investor relations at Lightrock. I'll talk a little bit more about Lightrock later, but just quickly on my background. I live in Switzerland. Our headquarters in London, but we also have an office here in Zurich. So I live close to Zurich with my family. I have 3 boys, quite young still. I started my career after studying business in strategy consulting, focusing on private equity and financial services. I also did a PhD on social entrepreneurship, and then finally brought all of these passions together when I joined LGT's impact investing activities 9 years ago. then held several roles around sustainable investing and impact investing at LGT, and then helped build the Lightrock platform, which spun off from LGT last year, and which is holding all of its direct impact activities in private equity. Happy to be with you today. Thank you.
Great to have you on board. Anna, last but not least.
Yes, hello everyone. Hello everybody at home or wherever you're sitting. Super nice to be here. My name is Anna Perzel. I'm CEO and co-founder of Nista.io. And long story short, we develop a software platform that helps large manufacturers to become more energy efficient and CO2 friendly. My background is from environmental engineering. I'm in this company now since 2.5 years, and I'm happy to share everything that I have to share today.
Great, and we will have a lot of questions, so good to have you here, Anna. So I would follow up with you. Could you perhaps tell us a bit about your business and your business model, and especially why you would define it as sustainable?
Yes, so what we essentially do is there are large manufacturers out there that have a lot of sensor data to steer machines. And there are a lot of experts out there who have great ideas on how to produce more energy efficient and how to improve. And the problem that lies in between those two groups of people is always that working with IoT sensor data is a very painful and time-consuming process. And whenever you have an idea, you have to start from zero, and energy efficiency is super project-based. What we do with Nista.io, we kind of jump into the middle of these two people and take away all the pain that makes energy efficiency unscalable in the industry. So we take the data and connect it efficiently with experts that have ideas in order to really empower companies to be more energy efficient on a regular basis by regularly analyzing their sensor data with the help of the experts. Super deep techie, and I hope I brought it, but if you have questions, just follow up on it.
No, very good. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was just wondering how you came up with that. What was your motivation, and why did you decide to found Nista? What was the starting point, so to say?
Yes. So we are a spin-off of the Technical University, and I personally studied environmental engineering, so I always knew that I was going to do something in that space. And then, as life happens, by coincidence, I met my co-founder Ben at an event where we both didn't want to be, and we started talking. And he just finished his PhD around semantic ontologies and the topic, and we just started to working on this foundation that he did in his PhD research, and to just look what could be out there. And with the first research grant, with the first project, everything that started as a real pastime became more and more this company, as we could see that people actually like what we were saying and what we were making up. And then when Marcus out there, the co-founder, joined, who's a software developing genius, we suddenly were all in very seriously, and now this company has 14 people and is quite a thing.
Wow, very great story. Thank you for sharing that. And I was also wondering, Angela, the same. So maybe you could also tell us a bit about your business and your business model, and about the sustainable aspect, of course, of your business.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Lemon is a manufacturer of biodegradable laminating film and packaging foil. And I know that a lot of foils and plastics are said to be falsely biodegradable and not actually compostable at the like 99% or at all. But our main focus was actually for the past 3 years to reach that goal and to develop actually biodegradable and suitable for home compost packaging foil for food and for other goods, and laminating film that is applied onto paper and cardboards. This is all the, let's say, perfumes or whiskey boxes and everything. Everything is actually laminated, even though we don't see it. My background from back in the days was from journalism through photography, and I've been working with pre-press and printing around 10 years or so before we actually ended up making the foil. So I really had an idea of how much plastic was used in this industry and how neglected it was as a problem that, you know, we're all talking about microplastics and everything, but we're not actually focusing on every aspect of the plastic that it is around us. So for the past 4 years actually, I've gathered with Associate Professor Filip Ublikov and Gergana Stancheva, and we decided to develop this product that will be actually suitable for usage and for manufacturing on standard machines that are already all around us, producing plastic that is used. So we just wanted to have a direct climate mitigation effect by providing this solution that can be actually used in the highly used extruders that are the machine's code. So this is actually making the product cheap and easy to adopt if licensed, because our focus in the future times will be to actually license our solution in, let's say, Asia or the United States, because we don't see how we can fight the carbon footprint even if we just decide to send our product throughout the world. So what we actually do and focus on is the end life of our product. We have developed a marine biodegradable plastic foil as well. It is currently in the final phase, let's say TRL 7 or something like this, because we know about the, of course, ocean plastics and everything, and most of the PLA-based plastics aren't actually degradable in salt cold water. So this is our next focus. I can gladly say that our team is just about to expand. We are just the 3 of us up until now. But like I said, we are just exiting the R&D session. So the more to come.
Great, wow. And I know that you have actually a background in journalism, if I'm not mistaken. So you worked as a photographer there, and then you saw, okay, there is a huge problem with all this plastic consumption and with this waste. And then you came up with this idea.
Yeah, well, exactly. Gergana and I have been friends from, like, let's say 15 years or something. So before we dived into this, we were both talking about what our own impact was, because we've always been like super involved into environmental issues, animal welfare, human rights, everything, and everything comes into the climate. I mean, whatever we do, if we don't take care of our climates and pollution that we have and impact, everyday impact that we have, well, it's just useless. So one day we were just discussing our own impact, and we decided that we should just find this biodegradable plastics and start using it in our professions, because I've been in pre-press and printing, and she was a designer. And when we ended up not finding this on the market, we just decided to, started to figuring out how can we actually make this happen. And lucky for us, it was just about that time that a Climate Launchpad, which is an EIT initiative, opened applications in Bulgaria. So we had the idea on a napkin, basically, and we decided to see and to validate the need of this product. And
Great.
Our idea at all.
So very cool. And then we have on the other side people and institutions who are actually supporting these ideas, like yours and Anna's ideas. So Katarina, can you tell us a little bit more about LightRock and about the scope of your position there?
Sure, thank you. So LightRock is an impact investor, a so-called pure play impact investor in 3 main themes, which are people, planet, and productivity. And behind those themes, we target a number of more specific sectors. So these are more specifically education, healthcare in the people area, smart cities and transportations, sustainable food and agriculture, and transition to renewables and circular economy in the planet's sphere. And then lastly, in productivity, we look at transforming finance as well as a digital business infrastructure. And in all of these sectors, we invest growth capital in tech-oriented companies. That means we're not a seed investor, but we're a growth VC investor. So that means we typically invest from Series B onwards. Average ticket size is $20 million US, and we also follow on our investments. We are keen to be a partner to entrepreneurs, which means we typically are a minority investor. We take a board seat, but we're conscious about helping the entrepreneur build a helpful board and build helpful financing rounds with other like-minded partners that we think help move the company forward. For us, it's all about helping the entrepreneur and her and his team scale the positive impact they want to have with their idea and their model, basically, and their technology that they've developed and proved already. So we're really here to help them scale and navigate the challenges of scaling across the different topics and dimensions of that journey, but also across the different themes and topics that we address. Hopefully that gives a little bit of color of what we do.
Sure, thank you. But I would
maybe I should mention, we do this in actually globally. So our headquarters in London with an office in Zurich, as I mentioned earlier. So we are focused on Europe and North America from those two locations. But we also have offices in Sao Paulo, Bangalore, and Nairobi. And we also cover the markets in those geographical regions with investments. So far, we've done over 80 investments worldwide, have about $3 billion US assets under management, 80 people in a team globally. Gives you a bit of a flavor of our size as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Katharina, for this elaboration. I would be also interested in your motivation. So why did you decide to invest in purpose-driven business? And how would you say does this contribute to the SDGs?
Yeah, so there's a two-pronged answer maybe to this. So I personally got into this because I got intrigued by the idea of solving social and ecological problems economically with economic business models, thereby creating sustainable and scalable solutions to problems that don't rely on our most precious capital, which is philanthropy. So we can save that for areas that can't be solved by markets. And when I kind of first heard about this idea of social entrepreneurship, that was back in 2007, seems like ages ago. And at that time, the concept was really still very much residing within philanthropy and kind of very niche. Impact investing since then has taken a big leaps forward and is now in everyone's minds, or almost. So we've come along a long way, and that's a great development to see. So I've been very early kind of intrigued by this idea, and now it's really starting to be commercially very viable, and we find a lot of interesting businesses that are very profitable, but the more they do what they do best, they help more people, they help the environment, but they're also doing very well financially. So it's a proven concept almost now. On the other hand, that's my personal kind of journey into this. But if I look at it more broadly and how Lightrock was started and why, it was founded by our chairman today, Prince Max of Liechtenstein, and the princely family behind it, who really for centuries already believed in sustainability and entrepreneurship. And so from that legacy, Prince Max found it necessary to open up this side of the capital markets to help people and planet as well, and found that it's not only a needed pot of money, but it's also commercially very attractive and a great way to scale impact really across and beyond philanthropy.
Okay.
That gives it an idea.
Yes, yes, definitely. And Anna, I was wondering, because you mentioned already, you are 3 co-founders, and together with Benjamin and Marcus, you lead the company as a CEO. So can you share here how your collaboration looks like and how you complement each other there? And maybe a bit more tricky question, what do you think would have been different if you had a female co-founder?
Well, good questions. Where do I start? So with Marcus, Ben, and me, in terms of tasks that we share, that is a fairly easy split, because we're very diverse from our backgrounds. So Marcus, as a CTO, obviously knows how to pull down our crazy ideas and really put this into software and into code. So that's what he's doing. Ben, who's really the first user on the expert side, knows what feature people need next to really analyze data, so really on the job. And me being more on the industrial side, knowing, okay, if I work in a company, what do I need? What information? What do I look at? And in this kind of thing, we all grew together in our tasks. And on a more cultural, atmospheric level, I'd say I'm super lucky with Ben and Marcus having 2 very reflected men by my side that stand by me in, especially our customers are industrial, mostly men. Industrial men sounds weird, but yeah, but men from the industry. And I'm lucky to, kind of be in the position where I am, where I can, with every conversation I have with every man that I talk to, and can turn him or her over and see that I'm a young woman, but I do have the same content like every guy in my position. And also with Ben and Marcus being aware of that exact same thing and supporting me there. And it starts with little things, like when sometimes questions automatically get directed to Ben or Marcus. This is a small thing that happens on a daily basis. And it's super important that they are also aware of that and then redirect. So it's really a team play in these situations. And and if I would have a female co-founder, I do have my female co-founders around Vienna. I don't have them in the same company, but there is my network of friends that also founded a company, the network that I got through female founders and also by coincidence being in the startup base. And what they make different is that they support me mentally and in our growth in a way that nobody else could. And that's the power of us women pulling each other up.
Yeah. Sounds like a great and supportive environment. That's how it should be, always like that.
Exactly. I wouldn't know where I would be without them.
Yeah, that's so nice. And then I was wondering also, Katharina, because you're meeting thousands of startup founders every year, and we know there has been now a significant societal push towards having more female founders. And I would like to know, what do you think makes female founders special, and especially when it comes to sustainability and sustainable businesses? Or would you say, is there any difference to male founders?
I mean, obviously we don't ex ante differentiate. No, I mean, we don't hopefully don't have a bias here, but I wouldn't exclude it. I mean, by now obviously all of us have grown up in these societies. I guess we kind of all have a bias a little bit, but we are agnostic, obviously. Having said that, we have a couple of great female founders in our portfolio, and everything I could say to kind of, draw some conclusions would almost sound stereotyping or kind of manifesting some beliefs, which I don't want to, right? So I would almost retire to there's no difference in their capabilities and their behaviors and their skills and their networks and their experiences. I mean, what you can say is that obviously we're looking at the sector of femtech quite interestedly, because, and we've also done an investment in femtech in LV, of some of you might know the UK company, which is led by a female founder. She has a great diverse team, so a lot of male persons also kind of strongly advocating this topic and the company. But that's obviously a topic that's close to all of us here, and that's significantly under researched, underfunded so far, and under tackled. So. Also, if we look at into the future, certainly something that's where there's more to come. But we also have done an investment recently into a company in the US, Mainspring, which is filling a critical gap in the decentralized energy production by having invented a new technology in the generator space. So a new form of generator that can use various green fuels versus diesel generators that use, obviously diesels have a lot worse CO2 footprint. So they're filling a critical piece in the puzzle of decentralized green energy production and consumption. And she's also, I mean, she's just a very skilled and experienced and incredibly content-rich person. If I can call out something, maybe, and then that's more on a general basis as well. What we see lately and what we're trying to counter as an investor is that a lot of entrepreneurs kind of are almost celebrated like rock stars, especially in the stage where we are, where companies have mastered the early stages and are looking into growth. And some are growing, able to grow their companies strongly, and a lot of there are a lot of fans cheerleading them along their ways, right? And it's something that we don't see our role as a cheerleader of founders. So we typically rather act as a partner. And we want to be the ones that talk honestly and openly also about the challenges. And we also find to be the ones that are called at 3 a.m. in the morning when something goes wrong, right? So we're not the ones who just, we're more the open and honest ones. And that sometimes obviously also involves some hard conversations, which, yeah, sometimes when everyone else is just clapping, sometimes might come across strange, but it's always appreciated by our founders, actually. And I think that here maybe I can make that little point, which is maybe also already stereotyping a little bit, but I feel that maybe female founders less centered around their personality, but they always very much focus on their company and the well-being of their company. And that's doesn't, by no means it means that male founders don't do that too, right? But maybe the chances that that egos are a bit higher on the male side are maybe a bit higher, right? So, but again, I don't want to fall into stereotypes here. So maybe that's a little point that we see in this kind of rock star business sometimes. If
Great,
that makes sense.
Thanks for this perspective. Yeah. I would also like to learn more now about future trends in sustainability. And for that, I would like to ask you, Anna, because Knista is a startup that helps industrial companies save resources. What is your vision of sustainability from your own business perspective?
So in my head, like, we take decisions every day, right? We take decisions on how to go to work and how to, you know, what packaging to buy, looking at you and all those kind of decisions. So my vision, one part of the vision is, if everyone in a sustainable future would take these decisions every day, considering the environmental impact, I think this is something that would be a general mind shift. And I think a lot of people already do it, but yes, if we take into consideration, if we can create a society where sustainability, or being more precise, less CO2 in the atmosphere is a constant decision-making factor, and being transparent and informed about that, and then having that as our common goal in a society. And then secondly, who's better, me or you, which we have in our liberal market situation always, and that's always the goal, fighting with true sustainable thinking, right? And if we could create a society where we are all really aware of our common goal, and that is the first goal and everything else is second. Because if we burn together, right? And that there's no difference between us as people anymore if we don't fight for this one common goal. I think that is a sustainable future.
Totally, yeah. And so you draw now this vision, Anna and Angela. Do you think are the trends and market potentials going towards this direction? Are we going in this direction, or do you see the trends rather following another path?
Well, yeah, well, Anna said it good. I mean, we are going in that direction. Even being a good businessman nowadays means that you have to get that, I mean, to consider this entire state of everything being environmentally friendly, all the ESGs and everything that is nowadays that means a good business, because people are constantly searching for better and better options. Of course, you have to consider the prices when you present a product or a service, but we are constantly talking to each other about such problems. Information is all the time being thrown in our faces, and I know it's sometimes a little even off for a lot of people, but even they are starting to consider their options on the market. So it's a matter of really business perspective. If you would like for your business to grow and to continue being, you have to get that, you have to be more environmentally friendly for sure. And I can gladly say that we can see the difference already. There are so many young people, and not only young people, everybody is starting to do that. Not to mention the new people that are the 5-year-old children. Even they are like recycling nowadays and giving advices on choices. So it is happening, but I hope that we will just manage to do it as quick as possible.
Can I shortly add on to that? Just to say, like, for us, a super good example that is still happening though, we want to make CO2 and energy visible in order to reduce it, right? But we still only, or not only, but mostly sell to companies with the promise that we can reduce energy costs. And that's still out there. And this is the game we're playing. We have to reduce energy costs. That's the buying argument by the end of the day. And not really yet, okay, it's really CO2 and energy, like pollution sinking and decreasing. And having said that, that's how it still happens with us. I don't know about you, Angela, but the buying argument, how do you experience it?
Well, at the end of the day, like I said, it's about the price, it's about the cost. And it's up to us, the people that are behind those businesses, to maybe present it as good as possible for the people that will use it, no matter what they would like to hear. I'm gaining my own little goal that I'm aiming to. I mean, I want to fix a problem and an issue, and if that means that I might. Of course, I try to communicate the problem with companies every time, but if I see that this will pull them off a little, I mean, push them off a little, I might skip that part, and go a little more with the good working environment, no VOCs, and the price is great, and the customers will love it because this and that and that. So there are actually businesses that are a little pushed off by all this environmental attack, if I can say that. But yeah, what can you do? I mean, it is an issue for all of us, so we have to consider that. And as business people, at the end of the day, because we are all making business, of course, environmental, but then again, you just have to find a way to pitch it so they will just like absorb it.
And talking now about the investor's perspective, Katharina, where do you see the market potentials in the future? So in which segments, technologies in the sustainability field, and especially in the industry connection here? Do you see it similar as Angela and Anna here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think taking a step back, if you look at ESG and impact maybe as two separate concepts or approaches or complementary views almost. I mean, from an ESG standpoint, I think we've all moved from risk management in big corporations and now even down to startups, where you just simply have to fulfill some minimum standards to almost an opportunity mindset now that kind of then also moves over into positive impact and whole business models only kind of targeting a positive impact and capturing market opportunities here. If you look at even if you come from the ESG standpoint, and I can just kind of sprinkle in a few examples from our portfolio here. For example, we invested in a company called Sunfire, which is enabling the production of green hydrogen in Germany. It's led by Niels Aldag. So this company, for example, they're selling their applications, their machines basically to a customer in the steel space who basically was told by their customers that they will only buy green steels in 5 years from now. So there is genuine end user demand to switch to green steel in that case, right? And that's just one example for many other developments that are happening right now, where there's a strong external demand from customer side, from regulation side, from the market side to move to greener production and to actually tackle the footprint. And talking about Anna's example with the CO2 footprint earlier, I mean, companies are more and more forced to publish their CO2 footprint, and there's a lot of regulation happening around that. So over time, I'm sure it will become a point, right? And I think in many industries it is already, to be honest. So I mean, the price point might be one still, but I think it's more and more also being overlaid by the CO2 footprint. And once that's correctly priced, which has started already, it will factor into any pricing anyways, right? So that's a clear trend and already a reality, to be honest, not only a trend. And that's exactly where we also see a lot of things happening at the moment, and why we're also putting a focus on climate investments at the moment. Climate investments are obviously, and climate is in the center of the attention. And there's a lot happening in the early stage environment in Europe. And we as a growth investor see a great pipeline here for many interesting sectors and subsectors in the climate space. Obviously, it's not only about energy and power, it's about decarbonizing industry. It goes exactly into the directions of the two businesses that have been presented here, or three businesses. I count you in, Maggie. So they're exactly those areas are also in the scope when we look at climate investments. So I think those are definitely in the mix. And I spoke about femtech earlier also as well. So I think there are many areas developing, and impact investments are really becoming attractive from a commercial standpoint.
Thank you, Katharina. I'm sorry, because we're already running out of time. Unfortunately, I would have loved to discuss for at least 2 more hours with you, but we have to wrap up, unfortunately. So yeah, we touched upon a couple of topics today, such as trends and market potentials in sustainability and industry, raising funds a little bit, and the aspect of being a female founders. And for me, it was very interesting to get some insights from the founder's perspective as well as the investor's perspective. And I would like to close the session with a quote from Michelle Obama, who said, "No country can ever truly flourish if it stifles the potentials of its women and deprives itself of the contribution of half of its citizens." So with this, I would like to thank you, Katharina, Angela, and Anna, our fantastic female leaders in the area of sustainability, for your valuable leadership and sharing your experiences and perspectives with us. So thank you very much also to everybody who's listening in, and I hope you enjoyed this session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon. Thanks, everyone.